Hello everyone and welcome to another scandalous episode of the Audiophile Man, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about, well actually quite a lot, about a step-up transformer from Graham Slee. This is the Elevator EXP and it costs £640. In many ways this is a kind of a part two to an earlier review I did a little while ago, link above, to the Accession MC. This, however, is a specialist item. As I say, it's part two to that particular review, and it's a step-up transformer. Now, step-up transformers, in case you don't know, because not everybody does, step-up transformers exist to connect to a moving magnet phono amplifier. Now, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to connect a moving magnet phono amplifier, which is minding its own business, perfectly happy as it is? Why would you want to grab this thing called a step-up transformer and connect it to the moving magnet phono amp? Well, because if you did that, you will upgrade the moving magnet phono amp. You would allow it to support moving coil cartridges. It's an upgrade, as I say. Now, before we get any further, I'm going to go through a few basics about what a step-up transformer is and does. If you don't want to look at this bit, check down below. There's some timestamps. You can move on to the next bit. If you do want to watch this or learn more about step-up transformers, here we go. So why is a step-up transformer necessary in the first place? Well, because the output signal from a moving coil cartridge is so tiny. A moving magnet phono amplifier just can't cope. You could try, you could put in a request, sure, but your moving magnet phono amplifier would just throw up its hands, turn its back on you and walk out the door and spend the rest of the afternoon down the pub. I don't recommend it. Frankly, your moving magnet phono amp cannot do the job on its own. A step-up transformer is there to help. It's designed to amplify those tiny moving coil cartridge signals. Now, being able to connect a step-up transformer to your beloved, in many cases, moving magnet phono amp is a useful thing because it means you don't have to bin it. You don't have to get rid of your moving magnet box. You get to keep it and you get to enhance it all in one go. Step-up transformers are also useful for a second reason. A step-up should help to lower the noise floor. Allow me to explain. Say you bought an all-in-one phono amplifier that contains both the moving magnet and the moving coil models all in one chassis. Most of these things are integrated. Most phono amplifiers include all the gubbins in one chassis in one box. So you know the type I mean. You just flick a switch and you move from moving magnet to moving coil. Now I'm back again. Most phono amplifiers are built like that because you need just the one box, the footprint is small, costs are reduced, all that kind of stuff. Problem is, in broad terms, a moving coil module is pretty noisy in terms of high frequency noise. I don't mean clunks and stuff, high frequency noise. It's pretty noisy. It's noisier than the moving magnet module, put it that way. So if you're running an integrated phono amplifier, the risk is that the noise from the moving coil module might migrate to the moving magnet module, and that might interfere with the sound, it might mask fine detail. So if that is an issue and if you are concerned about that, how do you solve that problem? Well, by separating the moving coil module, by extracting the moving coil module, by putting it in its own box, its own chassis, by putting physical space between the two modules, turning the basic integrated phono amplifier into two separate boxes. The theory is you separate the electronics, you isolate the same, you prevent that migration of noise, You enhance the detail in the final sound signal. That's the idea. So, upgrading your moving magnet phono amplifier with a step-up transformer also instantly turns your basic moving magnet phono amp into a high-end model. That's what the Graham Slee Elevator EXP promises to do. And what about the box itself? Well, it won't take long to do this bit. Let me breeze through it. If you know Graham Slee products, you will already know the chassis because it's exactly the same one used on all of their accession phono amplifiers. Now, this is a good thing because it keeps production costs down. It also produces a sort of uniformity of style on the hi-fi shelf, which helps the overall aesthetic. Specifically, the rear of the unit features all those single-ended sockets to connect to the moving magnet phono amplifier of your choice. And of course, it doesn't have to be another Graham Slee box. You can attach any of your choice. Plus, you get to connect your turntable at the back end as well. The front features 2 toggle switches and a list of loading settings that are featured to match with the load setting of your cartridge. So, whatever the load setting of your cartridge, and you'll find it on the spec sheet, that gives you a good guide as to what setting you should be putting on the front of your phono amp. And a quick piece of advice, when you are doing the load settings, please use your ears, please experiment. Don't just look at the spec sheet and see, 100 ohms, so you think, ooh, got to put 100 ohms setting on the front of the Elevator EXP, otherwise it'll blow up. No. Use your ears. Go outside of that recommended spec sheet, whatever it is. Let's say 100 ohms. It could be anything. So if it's 100 ohms, mess about. Go a little bit higher, go a little bit lower. See which one fits your ears. The spec sheet is also, it's nothing really but a guide. It's a good starting point. But please use your ears and have a little mess about with the settings on the front of the EXP. You may be surprised. You may find a setting that actually fits your ears a lot better, maybe a bit lower, maybe a bit higher. Have a go. So I mentioned 2 toggle switches. These can be switched up, center, and down. Now, to select the correct load setting, you need to hit the right switch combination. You get a simple instruction sheet, and that gives you a very useful guide, although I really would have liked to have seen this guide printed on the chassis itself because, well, bits of paper can get lost very easily. So I recommend taking a copy or 7 of the instructions, just in case. A sample combo then. Well, I mentioned 100 ohms a minute ago. Let's say you're selecting 100 ohms on the front of the Elevator EXP. What you would do is you would flick the left toggle switch to the down position. Then you would turn to the right toggle switch and you will put that into the center position. That is your 100 ohms according to the instructions. And that really is the tech part, basically. I can't show you the inside. I know lots of people would like it, but Graham Slee would not, and I respect Graham Slee as they provided this thing very kindly for review. So I respect their wishes not to open up the chassis. That's the way it is, folks. Sorry about that. Anyway, how does this step-up transformer actually sound? Well, let's nip over to the sound quality tests and we will find out. And welcome to the sound quality tests for the Elevator EXP from Graham Slee, and playing Julie London's smoky ballad version of Won't You Come Home Bill Bailey, and I still don't know if he ever did, from the Liberty album For the Night People. This track lays the sound bare. apart from the rather delicate electric jazz guitar, all you're going to hear is a close-mic'd Julie London emoting all over the place. So I hooked the Elevator EXP up to the Graham Slee Accession Moving Magnet Phono amplifier. How does this duo sound? First impression? Calm. That was the word that sprung to mind immediately. That was my first impression of the Elevator XP connected to the Moving Magnet Accession box. Calm. No rush. No panic. The mids sounded smooth and relaxed. Bass, and there was bass from the guitar at least, that was solid, yet never bloated or distorted. The vocal performance was easy and it flowed without effort. Now my immediate urge was to click my fingers in a lazy Sinatra-like fashion, but I'd run out of Jack Daniels, so I tapped a foot instead. Now, if the steady, relaxed, carefree motion of the Mississippi River could be distilled into a chassis sporting single-ended connections, then it would have a Graham Slee logo on the front. That was the sound of the Elevator EXP. But what about a head-to-head with another Graham Slee product, the Accession MC? The one box versus the two. How did they compare sound-wise? Well, before we get to that point, let's remind ourselves of money, shall we? Because the price of the Accession MC, that costs £1,200. The Moving Magnet box, the Accession Moving Magnet, that costs £936. Cheaper. But if you add an Elevator EXP, well, that costs an additional £640. Let's not forget. So we got a combined price of £1,576. The two-box setup costs £376 more than the Accession MC. Bear that in mind. The result? Well, tough call this one, because we're talking about the same designer, the same design ethos, same parts, same everything really, except the direction of the sound signal itself. Well, the Elevator EXP grabbed the sonic signal and it added space and lots of air to the mids. It added a sense of the snoozy to the London delivery. It added focus to both her voice and to the bass parts of the guitar. It added diction to the lyrics. London at one point, for example, ended a line with the word out, and you could really hear that letter T via the Elevator EXP. She added a little bit of emphasis via the Elevator EXP. An extra emotional push that was slightly, just a little bit muddied via the Accession MC. Now, if you've seen my review of the Accession MC, link above, you will know how much I loved that box. But well, those connected isolated boxes of the Accession and the Elevator EXP, well, they were something else entirely. That noise floor does indeed drop again. The detail floods in to that newly found space. The music and the vocals, they add tonal realism. The performance is so much more vital, more immediate. Yes, the Accession Moving Magnet and Elevator EXP, they cost more than the Accession MC, but that extra cash is worth it in my opinion. As for the Elevator EXP Accession combo versus a typical third-party unit like my beloved trichord Dino, and that Dino was fully upgraded, separate power supply, extra audiophile cable, all the bells and whistles. As much as I love the Dino, and I am a big fan of the Dino, the noise floor of the Dino was higher. Mids were not as crisp. there just wasn't the same degree of information on offer as I was getting from the Graham Slee 2-box combo. I even tried other music, of course, including lots of cheesy 70s pop songs like, what did I play? The Alessi Brothers' Oh Laurie, in which a vibraphone kind of popped out at me at one point rather unexpectedly. That is, I never really noticed it was there before. Now, of course it was there, it's been there all the time. But the vibes never really popped, but they did this time. Then there was the classic hit single from the Climax blues band, Couldn't Get It Right. Well, the Elevator EXP certainly did, I've got to say. The sheer complexity of the arrangement on this track really surprised me. The drums and the secondary percussion, there was a shy organ line at the bottom of the mix. Everything was visible to the ear. Nothing was forced. Every output was neutral, balanced, easy. And before we end, adding the upgraded PSU1 Enigma power supplies to both units, the Accession and the Elevator EXP, that really hiked the sound quality upwards. In fact, I was convinced I just entered balanced mode. Such was the smooth, even output, and that further drop of noise, enhanced detail right across the soundstage. You had a basic increase in confidence in terms of the actual performance. That is, those performers sounded like they were fresh and on the ball and raring to go. Such was the enhanced detail and the extra precision from the output. Now that, my friends, is basically the end of this review. But before we go, I will give you some final thoughts. I'll give you some pros and cons and a rating. Now, I explained earlier that adding an Elevator EXP to your favorite moving magnet phono amplifier, that results in a 2-box system. But, of course, that's not the case at all, because each of these units arrives with its own separate external power supplies. So, adopting the Elevator EXP into your life results, eventually, in a 4-box phono amplifier, maximizing isolation and sound quality to boot. This is a good thing, all this isolation. This is a good thing for sound. And my goodness, that sound is very good indeed, especially if you go one step further and upgrade those power supplies to the Enigma variation. Did you see what I did? Don't worry. In short, it might take up a larger footprint on your shelf, and it certainly does that, but my goodness, it's worth it if sound quality is what you're after, and at this price point, you can't beat it. Pros and cons. And in a good section, we have low noise. Low noise all over the place, which means more detail. Balanced output, that's part of this easy sound I was hearing. Everything was very neutral. Detail, well, like I say, low noise, more detail, excellent stuff. Spacious soundstage. Yeah, lots of space, lots of air, lots of time for the detail to breathe. Mid-range focus as well, and that added to the tonal reality. On the bad section, well, this won't be relevant to everyone, but yes, all of these boxes take up a larger footprint and you may not have the space. Also, those loading reference instructions, only available on a skimpy, rather fragile piece of paper. I would have preferred them to be printed on the chassis itself, then they are less likely to get lost. Even so, I love the Elevator EXP, what it could bring to the party, and I just thought it was rather wonderful, and that's why I'm giving this particular little box a 9 out of 10. Congratulations to Graham Slee. And that's a lot, folks. Now, before you go, please, down below, can you click on the like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already done so? It will just help me to sail through the algorithm, and we all know we love the algorithm, hey. In addition, down below, I will put a link to Graham Slee, and you can buy one from the site. You can buy one from the company's shop. Further down, there's a whole heap of links relating to my good self, including my Facebook group, which you're welcome to join, my website, which has all kinds of extra information you don't see here, and my Patreon page, and you can access via the Patreon page the exclusive hi-fi news, etc. video, which turns up every single week, and there's a new one out this week. And there's other stuff over there too, room tours and other music features and buyer's guides and things. Check it out. I'll be back on the following Sunday with another review, and I hope to have your company. Until then, folks, bye bye for now.